What's happening, guys? This is Logan Robinson from NoleGameday.com. We're here live on a wonderful, fantastic Wednesday evening, and we're back in a game week. Florida State takes on Kent State on Saturday at 3 p.m. We will be giving a small preview to that, along with our score predictions there. Mike Norvell revealed some big key injury updates, including a true freshman that is on track to see some playing time coming up soon, along with some starters as well. We'll give you updates there in this show this evening. As Florida State and Miami setting up to be a college game day, we're going to look at that week and what the opponents and the matchups look like and see if Kirk Herbstreit is truly screwed in order to coming into Tallahassee. We'll jump into that conversation. Also, too, we'll look at where Florida State ranks in the national stats. We put out a great article on that at NoleGameday.com, and some of those stats will surprise you. What a time to be alive. What a difference just a short year does. But Florida State is high in a lot of those. We'll dive deep into that as well. We'll talk about college football landscape. We'll talk Clemson, what's going on there, what is happening in Gainesville as well, and look ahead to some of the other opponents on Florida State's schedule. As now that Florida State is a good team, it's fun to be able to watch some of these other guys on Saturday and see what the future lies with some of these matchups for the Seminoles later on in the season. But with me this evening is Dustin Lewis, our editor-in-chief at NoleGameday, and then over to the other side is our lead basketball writer, Austin Veazey. Gentlemen, we're back. Bye week is over. How are we feeling?
Great to be back. Florida State football on Saturday, and we'll see if now number 7 in the country, if the top 10 Seminoles can add another win to their belt, and obviously, starting to think about that conference opener at Virginia next Friday.
Yeah, y'all keep doing afternoon shows without me, so I'm having to find other ways to get my fix in. So
are you tuning in? Are you tuning in, VZ?
When I can, but y'all go live.
He's not tuning in.
Y'all go live at the worst time. So yesterday
noon o'clock.
Yeah.
Lunchtime?
Yeah. So yesterday to get my fix in, I hopped on a college basketball preview podcast. Already talking to Florida State basketball in September. It's starting to be that time too. So we're in a groove. We're feeling good.
We are in a groove, and FSU is as well. We didn't get your thoughts on it yet, VZ, but Florida State going from number 10 to number 7 on a bye week. What was your reaction to that? Because Dustin and I were pretty shocked by it.
I'm actually not too surprised by it, especially because of how great Alabama looked against Wisconsin, which, yeah, granted, Wisconsin's not anything to write home about this year, but Alabama smacked them around. They looked really good doing it. Meanwhile, Texas has looked disappointing, to say the least, through these first few weeks. Arch Manning looks like he's dealing with some kind of shoulder injury that they just don't want to talk about because his throwing motion is awful right now. And then part of it is Florida State's just a bigger brand than Alabama, than Illinois. So that, people are just going to be like, hey, Florida State has the much better one than Illinois does right now because, great, Illinois beat Duke. Congratulations. So I can understand it. I think my bigger complaint is LSU still being in the top 3 because that Florida win was not great. And that Clemson win gets worse every week. So I don't think they deserve to be a top 3 team, but that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, we're setting up to where we could see, and we'll talk about it later on in the show, but between Florida State and Miami, this could be a top 5 matchup. But the Hurricanes do have a big one this upcoming Saturday night against the Gators, which have not looked great. They have not looked great whatsoever, and you've got DJ Lagway throwing a lot of interceptions, and Billy Napier that seat is very, very hot, but we'll talk about that later on this evening. But let's first start off here with Mike Norvell revealing some injury updates across the board, both offensively and defensively. D-Lou, you were there in person for interviews today, along with a handful of players as well, which I want to get your thoughts on because we did get a Desir. Did we get both Desirs, or was it just one Desir?
Just Mandrell today.
Just Mandrell. Okay. It would be very hard to tell the difference between those two because FSU social media team put out a video today and had a lot of the coaching staff and the players, their teammates, try to pick between who is who, and some of them struggled immensely. Luckily, all of the defensive staff and Daryl Jackson, they picked them right, but a few guys had it wrong. But we heard from Desir. We also heard from I believe it was Ashton Barker as well.
Nope.
No Ashton Barker. Who talked about it? Ashton Barker.
It was Javon Boggs.
Javon Boggs talking about, interesting.
That's a big mix up there.
I want to hear it from Ashton Barker. But he did. Now, did he talk about Ashton Barker?
I think Mike mentioned him.
Someone tweeted today about Ashton Barker. I'll be bringing it up. I think you tweeted about Ashton Barker today. So I'll be bringing that up on the screen here in just a second. Anyways, Squirrel White and LeWayne McCoy got some updates here. This is from Mike talking about Squirrel, saying Squirrel was able to get back out today. LeWayne is continuing to push forward. Definitely hopeful. I'm expecting LeWayne to be ready to play here on Saturday. We'll see with Squirrel as it comes throughout the week, but it was a big step for him today in regards to that. So looking like things are up in the air. We'll see how it looks mainly for Saturday for Squirrel, but LeWayne McCoy looking to make his debut for the Seminoles. There's some good news in the wide receiver room for Florida State. Someone that I feel like the staff has talked very highly of, and we heard a lot of good things in some of those scrimmages.
Yeah, to be a big addition for Florida State's wide receiver room. Obviously LeWayne McCoy was someone in discussion for one of those starting spots before being injured and missing a bunch of time during the preseason. And like Logan said, a lot of praise from Mike Norvell and the coaching staff towards LeWayne McCoy. He brings a lot of versatility to the field. He's someone they believe can play not only on the outside wide receiver positions, but also in there in the slot. And, he's got some experience returning some punts last year for Florida State. So we'll see as he gets healthy and back involved that that's a facet of his game that they decide to utilize. But certainly with the lack of experience that Florida State had for the most part in that wide receiver room coming into the 2025 season, it'll be a nice boost to get LeWayne back, especially, if they do decide to sit Squirrel this weekend, which, in my opinion, if he's not 100% fully healthy, I'm sitting him against Kent State and I'm making sure he's ready to go on Friday night for the conference opener.
That's exactly where I was going to go. I would keep Squirrel White out for this game, even if he's 95% healthy. There's just not really a reason to play him against Kent State and let a guy like LeWayne McCoy get that work, because as talented as McCoy is, he didn't really get a chance to prove that last year, which granted, nobody got a chance to prove anything last year. So get him in the lineup, get him back into the flow of things against an opponent like Kent State. And then when you really need him on Friday night against Virginia next week, he's not trying to play for the first season and trying to get caught back up to speed. This is a much better opportunity to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing, is just getting this guy a little bit of burn. I think for LeWayne McCoy, that the factor is just kind of want to see what the steps he took. He was hindered because of fall and being out because of that injury, but you want to see how well he's developed under a new wide receivers coach. We've seen what it's done. Mainly, these are newcomers, but, just looking at Deuce Robinson, the way that he's arrived and the playmaker that he's been able to be early on, and also to Squirrel White. But we're going to see probably a lot more throwing from Tommy this upcoming weekend, which I'm looking forward to. That was something that, Austin and I, when we were doing our watch party for that game, we were monitoring how much and what will we see, who will step up to the plate in the wide receiver room for Tommy. And it so happened to be Deuce Robinson in that game, but this should allow for LeWayne McCoy to jump into that rotation if Squirrel White is not 100% go. I know some people in the comments too as well, don't really feel like Squirrel should be in the game if he's not a full 100%. I agree on that, because this is a lesser opponent. This game should not last long, as it did the same a couple weeks ago when they faced East Texas A&M. So really interested to see kind of where this wide receiver room looks. I'd like to see some guys like Elijah Moore, jump up and see how well he's developed as well in that room. Because, we've heard great things, but it was all more of consistency with him per the coaching staff this offseason, right?
Yeah, for the most part. He's still making those strides. I think he had a catch in that game against East Texas A&M, got some playing time in the second half. But yeah, there are some younger guys where, you're looking at a game like Kent State. Hopefully the starters can be out around halftime, late in the second quarter, like it was against East Texas A&M. Not only Elijah Moore, but, obviously BJ Gibson, Camden Fryer. We saw true freshman Tariq Mallory get his first action in there against East Texas A&M, had that catch that went for a first down conversion on fourth down and had a pretty good block too. That kid's got some good size. So, hopefully you can just kind of roll out those younger guys and get some really good snaps in this one.
Mm-hmm. I want to see some more Mekhi Danzy too.
Yep.
As well, but also want to keep him as healthy as possible, because it seems like Gus Malzahn has something special with this kid and the system that they're currently running. Now,
I would have mentioned him, but I would figure he's not going to be playing with the backups.
No, absolutely not. But we'll talk about a little bit more of Mekhi Danzy when we talk about the preview here in a little bit. Also, too, on the defensive side, this is something that I was asking for you guys to, ask Norvell, since I'm not there in person. I need to get my injury updates, and definitely, too, with Kevin, MF, and Wynn, who has not been able to see the playing field for Florida State due to an injury right before the Alabama game. Just so unfortunate. But he's one that really worked on his body this offseason, came in a little bit overweight than what Coach Storms and the staff wanted him at. He trimmed down a good bit, but really there, I would say, in that late cycle of fall camp and going through some of the scrimmages, he was one that was standing out, and we were hearing good things on from the coaching staff. But he's not set to make his debut this upcoming Saturday, but there's a really good chance we will see him hit the field on the road against Virginia. Here's what Mike Norvell had to say. He's close. I would say closer. We're hopeful that here, even in the next couple of days, we'll see the continued progress. Not anticipating him for Saturday, but looking at next week could get into the conversation. So we'll see how it goes. But certainly ramping up here for Kevin Wynn. And I think it's one of those things where if they really needed him to play this upcoming Saturday, maybe you throw him out there, yada, yada, yada. And because it is a smaller opponent, so this would be good for a younger guy to get in there and get some reps in. But it's just not the right time. And when you have other guys in that defensive line room that have stepped up, this allows to give Kevin Wynn as much cushion room as possible, guys.
For sure. And either way, I think Florida State fans are really excited to finally get a look at Kevin Wynn on the field in Garnet and Gold. Obviously one of your top signees in that 2025 class, and someone who stuck with Florida State, despite the disappointing 2-10 season, signed with the Seminoles in December, early enrolled at Florida State. And like you said, Logan, kind of worked himself into shape during fall camp, but down the latter half of it, he was playing as well as anybody in that defensive line room. And I do think Florida State, their depth probably in that interior, it's been a little bit better than expected these first two games. Obviously, Darrell Jackson, but with what Daniel Lyons has been able to do, especially in that Alabama game, and then Deontay McCray in there in the interior, the Desir twins. You've gotten more probably than you expected up front. But regardless, whenever Kevin Wynn is healthy and able to get back in that lineup, I think he's someone that's instantly going to leap up into that two deep. And this dude was an absolute wrecking ball, throughout his prep career, and is going to be primed to get better as he gains experience at the college level. So it would be huge for FSU if he can get back against Virginia just to get some snaps against an FBS team. A solid team in Virginia ahead of that huge matchup against Miami and Tallahassee.
We've already seen some true freshmen make some big impacts. Obviously, we were just talking about the Desir twins earlier, but obviously Usman Kroma has been pretty solid. Kevin Sperry looked good in his action 2 weeks ago. There's been some true freshmen that have made some impacts on this team, and they're high on a lot of these guys. Even Shamar Arnu is someone that they love, and we haven't really seen a lot of just yet. But if Kevin Wynn's better than what we've already seen from some of these true freshmen, it's going to help a lot. I know a lot of people are talking about Darrell Jackson's pressure numbers so far, and a lot of that's just because he's taken on double and triple teams. And if you can have a guy like Kevin Wynn next to him who can destroy these single teams, then those double teams will stop on Darrell Jackson and start going to some of these other players, and D-Jackson get opened up as well.
What you'd really like, sorry, I'm just smiling over here. Our audio people that listen are not seeing this, but I'm just kind of like smiling ear to ear just watching Kevin Wynn highlights. It's just super fun. He kind of just slings people. If the football route doesn't go as long as he wanted to, then he has wrestling coming for him. He could go to WWE because it's just kind of just grabbing kids and just slinging them 10 yards backwards, just right there. Well, just right there. This dude's a monster. He's a monster. And, right there, he's a big boy. He, like I said earlier, he's lost some weight, but really what you would love to have is a 3-man rotation there of, star players at your defensive line position. You know what you're going to get with Darrell Jackson. And like y'all were mentioning, this guy is taking on 2, if not 3 people. We've seen the screenshots. We've seen the film of it. But Daniel Lyons, he's had a nice jump to the season. Goodness, is that kid all right? Did he just break his neck? Someone get the stretcher for. Slide by. Good night. Anyways, you would love to see where Kevin Wynn can jump in there. You got 3 really good, formidable players there that with playmaking ability, and that should help out, like you said there, Dustin. Darrell Jackson a little bit. I think about it down here in Tampa Bay where, you're going to have Vita Vea. He's going to take on 2 people no matter what for the most part. But, until Kalijah Cansey's injury, on Monday night, that tandem worked out very well because that allowed Kalijah to do what he does best, and that's just work his hands and get back there and use his shiftiness, and Vita Vea would take on two guys. So I think this would be a really good – I think the staff was really looking forward to having that combination of what it looked like with Daryl Jackson and Kevin Wynn in there. Sadly, we won't see it this Saturday, but the fact that he's going to be fully healthy, it seems like 105% for Virginia is really good news for the FSU defense and Tony White. This was their top-rated recruit in the class.
It won't be much longer until we get to see Kevin Wynn, and I think it just adds so much more depth alongside that defensive interior, especially with the way that Tony White and Terrence Knight have used these guys where, there's defensive linemen like Deontay McCray. He's not strictly an interior guy for Florida State. Like, they can flex him out to defensive end in certain situations. And that's kind of what we've seen from this group so far. I mean, they've used a ton of different guys in a ton of different ways, and adding Kevin Wynn into that, I mean, it just gives you another tool in the shed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So some good news there with some injury updates. Florida State, knock on wood, have had some good luck on this front so far. We'll see how things continue moving forward. I wanted to bring up some national stats, though, gentlemen, and where Florida State ranks in some of these, because it's pretty damn impressive to begin the season. Of course, FSU did not play this last weekend, but still, nonetheless, this is where they stand in the scoring offense side of things. 54 points per game, which is tied number 3 in the country. I would have loved to seen what the comparison would have been to this time as of last year, but maybe not.
I can do it real quick.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to hear it, but FSU's on a good
21 points and then 13 points in your first 2 games. So that'd be 17 points a game.
Look at that quick math from Delu. I didn't know he had it in him.
He's a mathematician, man. If it wasn't sports journalism, then I think this would be the route he would go. Be working at a Mathnasium there in Tallahassee.
Mathnasium. Wow.
Yeah. What a place. What a place. Anyways, also too, ranked number 9th in total offense with 555 yards per game. They stayed there in the ranking from last week. Passing offense, 260 yards per game there. They're ranked number 40th. Another top 10 ranking here, though, in rushing offense, 295.5 yards per game, ranked at number 6th. What a time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. We should just clap on that. Pop the champagne. I don't care if it's only been 2 games, including East Texas A&M. I don't give a damn. Florida State couldn't do anything on the ground running. Here we are. And they showed dominance, too, I must say, against Alabama and some top-tier playmakers, which look at Alabama right now. Looking pretty damn good, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, the scoring stands out, but I think this is the one that's the major difference. I mean, you're basically averaging 200 yards more on the ground per game than you did last year. I can't get the exact number in my head. I think it was 93, 97 maybe. It was under 100. So to see that turnaround so quickly on the rushing attack, pretty insane.
Yeah, I'm doing the math for you real quick. It was 89.9.
Okay, so it was even worse. So you've got about roughly half of the rushing yards that you did in 2024 in 2 games.
Yeah. So it would have taken 4 games. No, it happened halfway through the 5th game last year to reach Florida State's average so far this year.
Wow.
5 total games to get the average for this year. Yeah, it's impressive what this offense is doing. Obviously, it's only 2 games, so I'm trying not to get too far ahead of ourselves. I want to see how they do against some of these other teams once we get to conference play, because none of us expect Kent State to put up much of a fight on Saturday. So we'll see if some of this can carry over as we get into ACC play. But the rushing attack looks real. The rushing attack looks much, much, much better than it did a year ago. The passing game, we'll see. I'm not really buying the passing numbers that we saw against East Texas A&M, because against Alabama, they didn't really throw the ball. Granted, they didn't really need too much. And, 2 of those passes accounted for 60% of the yardage in that game. So we'll see how the passing game develops as we get in the ACC play. The running game absolutely looks real, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, wow. Experience at the offensive line, good transfers coming in, guys making holes. This is what happens, man. And you've known that you have talent back there in the backfield as well. That was one thing that was apparent. It's always been that way since Mike has arrived and Coach Yak. David Johnson, the running back coach, there's always going to be talent back there. But when you match that with some holes, guys playing with physicality, tenacity, wanting to move bodies and have that capability, things work in your favor on that end, and that makes life a lot easier. But also, too, when you match that with the running quarterback and Tommy Castellanos with the playmaking ability, good vision, that helps a ton, and we're going to see a lot more of that. I don't know if we'll see a whole ton of that this upcoming Saturday. We don't really want to see much of that. Don't need to. But when we get into conference play, like V's was just saying, we're going to see where, Tommy will go out there and make yards if need be. And we saw that against Alabama. And I thought he did a pretty good job, too, taking care of his body for the most part. But he's a fearless leader, fearless player, just like we talked with Earl Little last week. This guy is going to play very, very hard. And it's like, you saw it on Monday night with Baker Mayfield. That attracts for your teammates to play very hard as well. It sets the tone. It sends a message. And it so far has done that for not only the offense, but also, too, on the defensive side of the ball. Fourth down conversions, 5 of 5, which is tied for number 1 in the country there, which is very, very impressive, too, for Gus Malzahn's offense. And also a big one here as well, which we will do. I will grab 2 champagne bottles for this. Sacks allowed, only 1, which is tied for number 6th in the country.
It's pretty good. But I'm starting to think in my head, I'm
know.
wondering if it's wrong.
Uh-oh. Oh, is it wrong?
Well, I mean, it says 1 on their website, but I'm thinking like Alabama got a sack on the first play of the fourth quarter.
I don't know if they counted that one as a sack technically.
Maybe not. And then East Texas A&M obviously got the sack on the fourth string quarterback that turned into the fumble.
Because you're talking the Alabama game, you're talking about the PA rollout where Tommy's rolling to the left, right? Yeah. I think they counted it as just a rushing attempt.
Then maybe so. Either way, I mean, it's been impressive. Like Florida State, they haven't allowed a ton of pressure back there in the passing game. And I mean, a lot of that goes to Tommy with the way, especially against Alabama, where he's just so elusive and he sees pressure coming in. He escapes outside. So with what Tommy's able to do with his legs and also the offensive line and what they brought, it's been a very impressive combination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't have a statue sitting back there just kind of honestly waiting for someone to come and touch you like you did last year. And 2, the offensive line, having those improvements there. And I love sticking with your 5. Thank you, Herb. Thank you. And then another one that stood out to me was completion percentage, 73.5%. That's ranked number 10th in the country there for FSU. And then yards per play, which is a big one here. Gus Malzahn, Mike Norvell, they've talked heavily about it throughout the offseason. Explosive plays. That's something this offense has to do to get down the field, and they're tied number 4th in the country for that at 8.29 yards per play. Pretty damn impressive there as well.
Racking it up. Now, I will say a little bit inflated because obviously you had over 700 yards of offense against East Texas A&M and all of those long touchdown plays in that game. So, I think it'll probably be somewhat similar this weekend with Kent State coming to town. I'd be interested to see what this number looks like after the Virginia game and after that Miami game.
For sure. I was trying to research a stat real quick because I was curious about how much improvement they've made on 4th downs. What do you think Florida State was on 4th downs last year, if you had to take a guess?
5 of 20.
22.1%.
You could not be more wrong. They were 20 of 32 last year, 62%.
That's not bad.
That's good. Honestly,
that honestly had to be around the tops in the country.
It absolutely was. So, but compare that to where it was 2 years ago when Florida State couldn't get a 4th down no matter who they were playing. I think they were 10 of 22 the year before in 2023, and they were really good that year. So maybe 4th down conversions just don't matter. Have you ever thought about that?
Well, one of those 5 definitely matters because it won Florida State that game against Alabama.
It's a joke. Relax.
It was a joke, and he took it back. Let's go over to the defensive side of the ball, gentlemen. Let's look at Tony White's defense and what they look like. They're currently allowing 10 points per game, which is tied for number 14th in the country there. First down defense, 27 first downs allowed, which is tied for number 5th in the country.
Well, they've only played 2 games. Some of these teams have played 4. I don't know if you can give a total.
Yeah, some really 3, but week 0 games or week 0 games. And then going over to touchdowns allowed 2, tied for number 3 in the country as well. I know, Florida State had a bye week and everything and whatnot, but I really don't give a damn. I really don't give a damn. To see some of these things is nice to me because I don't care who the opponent was last year for Florida State. It was dog water. It was awful. So let's have some optimism here. So don't just degrade because they only played 2 games in the season. Let's have some actual you know what I'm saying?
We can view it both ways. Whereas a huge improvement, but the numbers are a little skewed because Florida State's played 2 games. Some teams have played 3, and some have played 4. So totals are a little tougher to look at. But 1,000%, the defense is miles ahead of where it was last year. There's no questioning that.
Yeah, the per game numbers are a little bit more accurate, but I will say, 3 total touchdowns in 2 games. Obviously, didn't give up one against East Texas A&M, but you gave up however many touchdowns, 6 in your first 2 games last year, 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really about the start to me. Guys understanding where they need to be so far and understanding their assignments, which is, some things slip up, and didn't really see that against East Texas A&M. That was the big thing for me because, sometimes it's football, and definitely too, not only, yes, your starters played well, but also too, you're 2 deep, you're 3 deep. Some of your friggin' walk-ons in there understood where they need to be, and they got there quickly and fast and with physicality. And I think that's impressive to me that you didn't see a whole lot of screw up there. No matter, yes, it's East Texas A&M, Florida State is going to have better athletes on the field, but still, you still are learning. These are 2 new offenses and 2 new defenses. I think that's where it stands out to me, where we see some of these national stats impressing so far for FSU. All right, let's jump over to a conversation that I've been seeing all across social media. Kirk Herbstreit is screwed. He's going to have to come down to Tallahassee. So College Game Day, they are at Miami on Saturday night, the Gators, and 5 interceptions thrown. DJ Lagway will be down there with Billy Napier, which that seat is very, very hot, gentlemen, for him. College Game Day is coming to Tallahassee in a few weeks. It has to. And definitely, too, with that loss that Florida took, it's looking like it's going to be set up perfectly for Florida State versus Miami. The last time that College Game Day was in Tallahassee was on October 18th in 2014 when number 5 Notre Dame and Brian Kelly came down to number 2 FSU. Ken Griffey Jr. was the actual guest picker. But yeah, like I said, Florida at number 4, Miami this upcoming Saturday. Then Miami has a bye week the next weekend, and then they go and would face off against FSU. What are y'all's thoughts? What are y'all's thoughts on Kirk Herbstreit? Obviously, the storylines of the fan base and everything. It would be incredible, awesome content. Dustin, you'd have to wake up very early out there and send you out there for content, please.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
You're going to wait out there in line at 6 a.m. I did it.
Can we get Dustin kicking the field goal, please?
Dustin kicking the field goal, he would fall on his face.
That would be embarrassing, but
yeah, it would be. It would not be pretty.
It's shaping up to be a showdown in Tallahassee for sure. Obviously, Miami's got to get through this weekend. Florida State's got to take care of business against Kent State and then go and beat Virginia on the road in that conference opener. But, assuming these 2 teams both stay undefeated, it's going to be a hard time for College Game Day not to come to Tallahassee. I know we were talking about, Alabama does host Vanderbilt that weekend. That one's got some potential there, obviously, for Vanderbilt and spoiling Alabama last year and having Diego Pavia back and now going into Tuscaloosa for that one. So, that'll be a fun showdown for sure. But I think if you've got let's say Florida State does stay at number 7 and Miami stays where they're at, it's still a top 10 matchup and one that obviously means a ton to college football with the moments this rivalry has produced over the years. And yeah, it would be a hellish environment for Kirk Herbstreit and some of those other guys up there on College Game Day. They might have to put some nets around them to prevent beers from being thrown. But, it would be something very fun to watch on television. That's for sure.
I think they would need more than a few nets. I think they would need a security team. They may have to do it from inside the Tucker Center.
Steel cage.
Yeah,
Inside the Tucker Center.
yeah, they may have to take some extra measures there. But you look at the match. I think that's part of why it's so surprising that they decided to go to Florida and Miami this week, especially because it's very clear that you look at the schedules. It's a very realistic chance that Miami and Florida State are undefeated in a couple of weeks for a top 5, top 6, top 7 showdown. So why go ahead and go to Miami this week when you're going to be talking about them again in 2 weeks, especially when there's a couple good matchups this week. I really thought they were going to go to Bloomington, Indiana for that Illinois-Indiana game. I thought that would have been an awesome atmosphere for College Game Day. Mm-hmm. Instead, you're going to Miami, Florida, where half of the fan base doesn't even want to watch that game because they want Billy Napier fired. So I don't know that this is the best atmosphere for that, but if they do go to Tallahassee in a few weeks, things will get rowdy very, very quick. Because we even saw last year in Ireland when Kirk Herbstreit was over there, Florida State fans let him know about it. Mm-hmm. And those feelings have not waned whatsoever.
I'm pretty sure the last few weeks since FSU beating Alabama, Pat McAfee has given some heads up to Kirk Herbstreit as well.
Yeah.
Like, we're kind of setting you up here, Kirk. We're going to be down in Tallahassee, but I think that would be a phenomenal experience. God, I wish Lee Corso was still doing the show as well. Can we have guest picker Lee Corso come onto the show, please?
Honestly,
that would be badass. But the last time FSU had College Game Day for a Miami game, I looked at, this was back in November 2nd of 2013. I remember that game.
I think they were there for that.
Mm-hmm. That was a fun night in Doak Campbell Stadium. Miami was ranked number 7th, and FSU was ranked number 3rd in the country. But that was a fun time. And Doak. Did y'all see Dabo Swinney by chance in his press conference and what transpired?
Which part? I mean, it was 56 minutes long.
That is a long presser.
He knows how to jib. I give him credit. He can talk with the best of them.
Yeah, no, he can. Well, here he is talking about if Clemson is tired of winning, then they can move on from me. And so this is what he had to say to his reporters there up in Clemson.
If they want me gone, they're tired of winning, they can send me on their way because that's all we've done is win. So if they're tired of winning, we've won this league 8 out of the last 10 years. Is that not good? I'm just asking, is that good? I don't know if that's good or not. Win the league 8 out of 10 years, to go to the playoffs 7 out of 10 years, be in 4 national championships, win it twice. Yeah, we a little down right now. Take your shots, but I got a long memory in case y'all don't know. We'll be all right. We'll bounce back. This is a program built to last, always has been, always will be. And I would just say if you give up on us if you don't believe on us because we've lost 2 games down to the last straight and you didn't believe in us anyway, so it don't matter. You wasn't all in anyway. If you're all in, you burn the ships, man. There ain't no exit strategy. Like, you're freaking all in. And hey, listen, I mean, if Clemson's tired of winning, they send me on my way, but I'm going to go somewhere else and coach. I ain't going to the beach. Hell, I'm 55. I got a long way to go. Y'all going to have to deal with me for a while. Got a long way to go. I'm just getting going. I'm just now good enough to be a head coach.
I'm just good enough now to be a head coach.
My favorite part, anytime a coach brings up their age, they're cooked. Yeah, anytime. He's like, I'm only 55, you're cooked.
We're just getting started, man. He's just getting started. It's just the beginning of the Dabo Swinney era in Clemson.
I feel like he's missing the point, or maybe he's just missing it on purpose. Like he just doesn't want to address the problem. The issue isn't that they've lost 2 of the last 3. It's how they've looked at all 3 games. You can't say we've lost 2 of the last 3 while ignoring that you were down 16-0 to Troy at halftime. Mm-mm. Because your offense hasn't been able to get anything going at any point this season.
It looks awful. It's bad.
It's a horrible offensive product, and it's shocking. You look at all the talent they brought back. No one brought back more talent in the country than them, and they look horrible. Mm-hmm. It's truly one of the more bizarre things I've seen.
It really is. I mean, just the consistent struggles. You're like, eventually they're going to get it right here, especially with Cade Klubnik back there, and knowing all the talent that they have on that roster, even over on that defensive side of the ball, where they're going to have a bunch of guys called whenever that 2026 NFL draft rolls around. But I mean, I will say that I'm confident Dabo Swinney, like he talked about, the consistent success that he's had since he got to Clemson, especially in the last decade, I think he's going to get this turned around. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen during this 2025 season, but he'll get it turned around at some point over there for the Tigers, whether that takes moving on from Garrett Riley at offensive coordinator or not. But in the same vein, I'm now looking, at that last 5 games for Florida State where, I mean, it was shaping up where like this is going to be a gauntlet for the Seminoles to end 2025. And you're like, Virginia Tech's already fired their head coach. A bunch of guys are hitting the portal. That team is going to look completely different than what it did a couple of weeks ago whenever they kicked off. Now Clemson is going through their problems, and obviously Florida is having a ton of struggles over there. And I mean, who knows how many more weeks Billy Napier has if they don't turn it around very quickly here. So I will say, this is setting up now for Florida State to end off 2025 on a much better note than maybe we thought.
Mm-hmm. Looking at Clemson's schedule here, on Saturday, they face off at home against Syracuse, which has a
That'll be tough
coach there.
Yep.
Yeah, and they want to play for that coach. It seems like. Then they're at UNC. What are y'all's thoughts on UNC so far with Bill Belichick? Had a disastrous,
not good
beginning.
It's not surprising, which I think is the crazy part to say about someone of Bill Belichick's caliber. But you don't be a mid-70-year-old coach coaching college football for the first time, and it just works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't just immediately happen like that and find success right off the bat. But they will face off on October 4th at UNC, but they don't have a ferocious schedule after that. They go on the road to Boston College, which shout out to Bill O'Brien. Pretty brutal start there for Boston College. They just lost, to Stanford?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's not a I'll be honest, I didn't think Stanford was going to win an ACC game this year, so they're already ahead of my expectations.
Well, Tommy got out when he could at the right time. It seems like, just might have better playmakers here in Tallahassee. Like he said he would beat Alabama. So maybe just listen to Tommy. But yeah, they face off against Boston College and then SMU, who, Lashley and them, I thought
they're another disappointment.
I thought they'd have a better product this year, but so far it's not looking that way. They did lose a lot of talent too, as well, but still, it looked like that. And they have a lot of NIL funding behind them as well. Not too impressive so far this season.
No, I mean they were down 10-0 to Missouri State, which also blew my mind. I'm like, okay, they're playing Missouri State. Then I realized they're playing at Missouri State,
which was so strange.
What a wacky game.
Yeah.
I mean, you also had Oklahoma playing at Temple last week too. Like there was some weird games last week.
At least that was in the Eagle Stadium though. Like you're in an NFL venue. Like this was at Missouri State, 19,000 fans.
That is where Temple normally plays though. It's not like
no shots at Missouri State, by the way. I'm sorry.
Damn.
It's their first year in FBS. No, I get it. It's their first year in FBS. Like, why are you hosting an ACC school? I get it.
Sorry, Missouri State fans in here. I don't know what your mascot is, but I'm gonna guess go coal miners. I have no idea. I have no idea what their
pretty sure
mascot is. What is it? Let's go.
Pretty sure it's the Bears.
Here we are.
I think it's the Bears.
Is it the Bears?
Yes, it's the Bears.
Bears. Okay. Good. We got that down. Clemson then faces Duke. Then, of course, Florida State on the road and Death Valley. Going to be there for that.
Which, by the way,
what's going on?
By the way, about that game, you can still find a lot of places where Clemson is favored by 17 points. I'm just saying. There's still a lot of places that have that out there.
Okay. All right. So if you need to get your picks in.
Wild line. I wouldn't be surprised if they cancel some of those. But
yep.
Still there. Still out there.
Yep. And then Louisville, we'll see. I mean, they're not a bad team. They're on the road. That's a night. Is that a Friday night for them? It's looking like it's a 7:30 kickoff. So I would imagine that's probably a Friday night because Louisville loves Friday night games along with NC State.
Yep.
And Furman and South Carolina, yada yada yada. But not a crazy schedule after facing off against Syracuse. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there for Dabo. What about the other Death Valley and Brian Kelly? Did y'all see this over here as well?
Oh, I saw it.
Oh, yeah?
I saw it.
Let's check out, in case nobody saw this, let's check out Brian Kelly and going off on a reporter for talking about his awful offense when it was talked about all offseason about Garrett Nussmeier being the next best quarterback of all time.
Brian in the back. I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win.
I'm sorry if I'm there as a reporter and I'm asking a question like that. I'm immediately laughing like I am right now. I just couldn't help myself. I
the game.
I couldn't help myself.
We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game?
Last play of the game.
That's all you need. You just need one. There's a ridiculous questions. And I'm getting tired of it.
Oh.
That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled.
Ooh.
You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous. For a group of seasoned reporters, that kind of question is so out of line.
Got to keep an eye on the water bottles, man, with Brian Kelly, too. You never know what that poor water bottle could happen to him. That thing could be thrown. I thought it could have been thrown at the reporter. It could have been thrown at the podium. Could have been smashed on the ground. I don't know, but I was keeping a very close eye on that water bottle because it was open, too. You never know what could happen next with Brian Kelly and water bottles. But
I do not like this man. I do not like this man. Why is he like this? And why is he bragging about being good on third downs in a 23-7 win against Louisiana Tech? There's nothing good about that. I think it was a valid question. The offense has not been good for LSU for 3 games now. Yet, you picked off DJ Lagway 5 times. He almost had as many interceptions in one game as DJU had all of last season. And you scored 20 points. 7 of those were pick 6, and another 3 of those were set up by an interception that you couldn't get any more yards on. So you basically scored 10 points off of the other 3 interceptions. That's horrible. It's a valid question. I don't care.
And the reporter didn't say, why was your offense so bad? He just asked about it, and then
he's like, what's
Kelly
wrong?
Went to that tirade. I will say, all I could do was smile whenever Brian Kelly got ran over on the sideline.
Whoa, damn.
Do you guys see that one?
I was on my date night. I was on my date night, so I did not get to see that.
Oh,
I mean, honestly, you just can't have early college football without a viral Brian Kelly moment. Going back to that 2021 FSU Notre Dame game where he wanted to execute the whole team, or obviously last year slamming down the water bottle. Can't remember the exact moment from 2023 post game after FSU's blowout victory against LSU, but there was something there too.
I remember.
What was it?
It was the post game presser, but I wasn't in the room for that with y'all. I was listening, and they had it in the Camping World Stadium, and they had the audio coming in, but all I heard was a loud bang, and I was like, what was that? And I was like, he had to have hit something, and sure enough, he slammed that table. He did not like LSU's performance in that game. It's incredible content. Brian Kelly gives incredible stuff here. Supposedly, maybe the reporter, I guess, asks these type of questions, but I mean, that's just going to happen to you. And it was like Beezy said, I think it's a pretty valid question.
It would have been hilarious. So I don't know if you saw the next day he apologized. I would have loved if that same reporter came back and said, okay, thanks, coach. What's wrong with the offense? And just seeing what the reaction would have been.
Yeah. He since has issued an apology. Brian Kelly did issue an apology earlier this week, but still some really, really good pressers from coaches. We might do this more often, just throw up some stuff here from some of these guys. Pretty interesting stuff. Let's jump over to some Kent State talk, gentlemen. Florida State takes off on the ACC network. Lord help me.
Buckle in.
Yes, there was times on the last 2 Saturdays ago where I was like, just put the camera just keep the camera right there. Go over there. It's a long throw. Get the wide receiver. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on Saturday. But Kent State is 1-2 coming into this game. This is the first time actually both of these teams have faced off against each other. Fun fact though, FSU is 11-0 all-time against programs from Ohio and hold a perfect 7-0 record against Mid-American Conference opponents. Florida State opens as a 40.5-point favorite. It's family weekend as well for the Seminoles. Thoughts going into this game, well, I was going to say ladies and gentlemen, but sorry. Gentlemen.
Who are you talking to?
Gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm putting in the comments, people as well. I'm talking to people in the chat as well. Chat, please interact. Thoughts on this game going into it, gentlemen and ladies. Hit the like button.
I mean, really, my first thought is Kent State hasn't beaten an FBS team in nearly 3 years now. It last happened against Buffalo at the end of the 2022 season. Since then, they're 1-25, 1-26, something like that. And that one win was a couple weeks ago against a team you never heard of. So there's no excuse to not win this game by 50, I think. Okay. Now, granted, Kent State is playing a lot harder under this interim coach. It's a weird situation this offseason where the coach was their original head coach who somehow didn't get fired after being 0-24. He instead got fired for not using his credit card the correct way. So interesting situation there in Kent State. But there's really no excuse not to win this game by 50. There's really not. Kent State, I think, has better. To me, this looking at the roster, there's a lot of fun names. Like, how can you not get hyped up about DeRealist Clark?
DeRealist. I love that. What position does he play?
I think he's technically a receiver, but he does have a kick return touchdown this year. Wow. They also have tight end Hunter Hopperton, great name. Quarterback Drew DeShields, great name. Wide receiver JJ Etheridge, great. There's a lot of great names on this team, but that's the extent of the greatness.
This is incredible.
Yeah, Florida State, they should handle this one. Like Beezy said, it's been a while since Kent State defeated an FBS team. November 26th, 2022. That was 1,026 days ago.
Wow, he counted. Wow.
Damn.
Well, I Googled.
I know.
ChatGPT. Okay.
I Googled. But, offensively and defensively, I mean, they rank in the bottom 110 in most categories. We'll see. I think, they've got a little bit more talent probably than East Texas A&M, obviously being an FBS team, but playing under an interim head coach. They've had some switching back and forth there at the quarterback position. Redshirt senior CJ Montez started the first 2 games for them, but like Austin said, Drew DeShields, it seems like he's played the most. Their quarterback started in their last game, and they have created a couple of explosive plays offensively, but most of that came against Merrimack and against Buffalo and really late in that game against Texas Tech. Like, they scored 14 points against the Red Raiders, but those 14 points weren't scored until the fourth quarter when obviously third-string guys were out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that Texas Tech game's a good one to look at just because of the teams they played. Texas Tech is very easily the closest to what Florida State is, and we can make that argument how much of a difference that is. Florida State, we think, is a better team than Texas Tech, and Texas Tech still won 62-14. Mm-hmm. So there's no excuse for Florida State to not put up a similar kind of score in this game.
Random thing here real quick. VZ, how long are you going to grow that beard out for?
I don't know. I was thinking about that as I came on here. I'm not too sure yet.
We got to put something together here. Like you can't
shave it until they lose.
Yeah, but I kind of want it to be more severe. It's got to be more entertaining. Like, that could be easy type of deal. We want it to grow very far. Like, if Florida State, if they make it to the ACC championship, you still keep it there when we're up there in Charlotte. Like, we'll come up with something there. But it's growing. It's growing. It's
the longest I've ever had it, for sure.
Yeah. And then also to Terrell in here, Logan, are you drunk again? No, nope, not drunk. No, sadly not when I'm on here with these two. I need something to drink. But anyways, yeah, to me, it's more of just looking at some guys in the 2 deep and 3 deep, getting some more burn in there as well. I'd like to see KJ Sampson. I think I got what I need from Daniel Lyons now. I'd like to see KJ Sampson be in there and be a disruptor as well in this game. I continue to look at the safety room as well. I love, what the starting unit looks like. I'd like to see where Shaheem Brown, if things are going to step in his favor a little bit more. But right now, your starters look excellent. They look really good, and it's led by Earl Little Jr. and then also Ashland Barker, who Mike Norvell talked highly on this week, or actually today. So it's more of just looking at guys from behind. I don't want to see Tommy Castellanos out there more. We'll see if, question mark to me, who's in line at QB2? Who actually is it? Is it going to be Brock Glenn, or is it the true freshman with Kevin Sperry, who I thought looked like he took care of things well, took care of the ball. You saw that he can use his legs as well. It's starting to shape out. I think this will be pretty telling of who they feel comfortable with rolling out at QB2. Could it be a true freshman, gentlemen? I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening, because you would think by now, with whatever injury that Brock Glenn took, I mean, he did play in that game against East Texas A&M. You would think that now with that bye week, he'd be fully healed. It's going to be pretty interesting to see who Gus Malzahn rolls out there as QB2.
It's possible. I think this game will give us a better barometer. We did hear from Mike Norvell earlier in the week, and it sounded like Brock Glenn is getting back closer to his normal self, got some time off during that bye week to continue to recover from an injury that he suffered in the preseason. So, yeah, I mean, it'll definitely be interesting to see whether they roll out Kevin Sperry, who, threw two touchdowns in that first debut against East Texas A&M and, has a lot of potential, or if they decide to roll with Brock, who is the more experienced guy on the roster.
I agree with Logan. Sperry looked like he had command of the offense, and much more than you expect from a true freshman in his second game suiting up. He looks solid. I think him being more mobile helps with that. Not saying that Brock Glenn isn't mobile, because he is, but Sperry is just more mobile. And we know Gus Malzahn, that matters in his offenses. He needs a guy that can run with the football if he needs it to. And I just think Sperry's a better fit with that. So it wouldn't surprise me if Sperry is just the long-term QB2. Maybe they try to preserve his red shirt down the rest of the season, but if he's a better quarterback, let him play.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to monitor too the offensive line. We know what you got there so far with your starting unit, but something that Florida State has struggled in a very long time is your tackles and development there. For the most part, you've always had to pretty much rely on transfers coming in to make an immediate impact. But like, I'm looking at Lucas Simmons on here, as long, can that development, can he take that next step as well? It's going to be, it's hard to tell in a game like that, but you can tell like little things here and there, but like, okay, he's actually a serviceable product. And with Herb Hand on hand with these guys, no pun intended, but developing them, I would like to see that with him. Jonathan Daniels as well. We've heard things on this staff so far of the offseason of maybe where their steps are being taken, but you really get to see a better feel of that, certainly too, in the trenches at the offensive line position when you're in a game like scenario. And tackles, to me, I think it would be great for once in a lifetime to have tackles actually developed at Florida State and Garnet and Gold. And because now, you look at next season as well, you would like to see where, hey, you feel comfortable with trotting out one of those guys and not having to rely on the transfer portal as much.
And that was actually something last week that both Mike Norvell and Herb Hand spoke about, how those backup guys looked whenever they got into the game. And it sounded like Lucas Simmons and Jonathan Daniels, who you were just talking about, they both earned positive remarks for what they were able to do against East Texas A&M. Obviously an overmatched opponent, but I mean, that's the first step to going in there and competing against an FBS team or an ACC opponent down the line, is taking care of your responsibility in those backup reps, which is something that we haven't always seen from Florida State's offensive line from top to bottom. And I also thought, you had a true freshman get in there, Sandman Thompson at center, Chavez Thompson, and he was very impressive as well in his very first game. And obviously someone that's been listed as a primary backup there on the depth chart at center so far in this 2025 season. So there are certainly some young guys that Florida State is feeling confident about, and we'll see if they can continue to grow throughout the year.
And it's important to get those guys some reps now, because that is starting five is all seniors. They're all going to be gone next year. You got to know who's back there. Who can you rely on going into next season, or are they going to have to dip back into the portal and get 3, 4, 5 starters again? These reps matter. They have to make the most of them.
They 100% do. Let's get to some score predictions, and we do have a few questions to answer. If you have any questions or topics you guys would like us to jump into before we end the show, drop them in the comments. We got a few here listed down that I'll bring up before we end, but make sure you throw those in right now. But let's go and jump into score predictions. I believe it is, I don't know who it
My
is.
time.
I think it's your time. I think it's your time now to go ahead and start off for us, D-Lou, and then I'll go next. What do we got?
Yeah, like we've been saying, Florida State, they're a lot more talented than Kent State, obviously. And this one should be a blowout. I am interested to see how Florida State responds, coming off the bye week. Now you've had 2 games where you've beaten your opponent. You're in that top 10, number 7 in the country. Everyone's saying good things, patting you on the back. So I am wondering how they're going to respond after that and with the time off, obviously. I'm not sure if they're going to score 10 touchdowns on 10 consecutive possessions to start the game against Kent State. But I do think Florida State, they're going to get out of this one pretty early, obviously prioritize health and keeping the guys in that 2 deep ready to go against Virginia, especially with only 6 days to prepare for that game. So I think we'll see a business-like approach. Florida State takes care of business. And more importantly, I think that they're going to end up getting a blocked kick in this game. Kent State has allowed 3 blocked punts last in the country entering this one. So I think we'll see something on special teams for the Seminoles. Not sure we see any difference really in the punt return game just because Kent State is averaging less than 32 yards per net punt. So it might be tough to field a couple of those out there. And my favorite stat about this game, I was looking at PFF for Kent State. They'll be starting true freshman left tackle Tyler Meadows. He's 6'8", 320 pounds. Size pops out. He has the craziest PFF stat I've ever seen. He has a pass blocking grade of 1. Not 100, not 11, 1.0. I've never seen anything like that before. So I think Florida State's pass rush is going to have a pretty solid outing there against Kent State as well. I'm going to go Florida State. A nice score here, 69-10.
All right, man. There's no way.
That's my exact score.
That's my score. I wrote it down on Sunday.
My God. You got to be kidding me.
He went into my. I've had my preview written since Sunday. I have not touched it. He must have gone into my preview and read it. That's what happened.
Is it in Voltax?
Yes. Well, not like in the publish section, but like if you. That's unbelievable.
No way. We're all at 69-10. That's it.
Unbelievable.
That is
We're done.
Incredible. Well, I mean, nice. Very nice.
Nice.
Very nice. I think who is it, NoleGameday or someone that puts out the scores, the predictions from all the beat writers. He's got to put nice next to us right there, next to NoleGameday.
I can't believe we all put 69-10. What is wrong with us?
I don't know. That was not planned whatsoever at all. Like I was telling them before we went live, like I just do mine kind of usually off the top of my dome, and then I'll write with my score prediction tomorrow and send it to Dustin. But wow, that's incredible. So that's a lot of points.
That is a lot of
still
points.
allowing 10 points. Tony White probably won't like that as much, but 69-10 for me. Let's jump in. Unless you have anything.
I am more surprised that Dustin was able to access Kent State's PFF page without like a mental health warning popping up.
Like you need help.
Yeah.
You are on Kent State's PFF. Please go outside, touch grass.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see. I saw they had a true freshman at left tackle. I'm like, well, is he any good? And I was like, 1.0.
All right, let's jump into some questions here. It's a good question from Ariel on YouTube asking, do you guys feel like FSU gets enough national media coverage, or do you feel they think the Bama win is a fluke? Do y'all see that direction, or do you see guys on ESPN or people across the country saying that Alabama was the first week? I think this is what he's trying to mean here, speaking on it was the first week. Alabama didn't really show up to play, yada, yada. Now Alabama looks really good. If Alabama were to play FSU again, it would be a lot closer. If not, also maybe the Crimson Tide would win that game. I think that's what he's alluding to here in this question.
I think part of it is that Florida State has only played one other game, and it's East Texas A&M, and that was 2 weeks ago. We haven't seen them play another quality opponent yet. So it's going to be more natural to go with, hey, Alabama just whooped up on Wisconsin, who, while they're not good, is a Power 4 team. So it's just a little more natural for it to go that way. But if Florida State goes out next week and beats Virginia by 30, I don't think anyone's going to be having that conversation about the Bama one being a fluke or anything like that.
And for the most part, I mean, I've seen Florida State nationally get a lot of respect from the media for what they're able to do against Alabama. If anything, it's been Alabama fans saying that, oh, the team didn't show up in week 1. If they played now, it'd be totally different. Like, we saw the game. We don't have to talk about hypotheticals. I mean, we actually got to watch it, and what happened, and we'll see. Obviously these two teams are going to play again next season. Maybe if they're both able to respond, they could potentially meet up in the college football playoffs sometime later this year. You never really know how that thing shakes out with 12 teams in it. But Florida State, I mean, honestly, they don't really have to worry about what the national media is saying. This isn't 2023 anymore where you're fighting for a 4-team playoff. Like, if they go and keep taking care of business, they will be in the playoff no matter what and have a chance to go out there and compete for a national championship, which would be crazy to see. But the biggest thing is, like Austin said, it's only been 2 games. You got a lot of business to take care of before we get there.
Being out in Doak Campbell Stadium next to Alabama fans as well, because I was on the away side, and seeing how angry they were and yelling at the sideline, yelling at Kalen DeBoer. Incredible experience. This is not how we play football. This is not Alabama football. Incredible time. So I can see where Alabama fans are a little irritated. I would be very irritated by a 5'10", 190-pound quarterback talking shit to you all off season, doubling down on it, and then whooping your ass. Probably a little irritated and angry. And 2, if you want to run it back, and if Florida State can do what they need to do, and Alabama needs to do what they need to do, line that shit up. We'll see in the postseason. There's another question here. This is from Walt Jones on Facebook. Can FSU and Miami play twice this year? Good question.
Part of my preview that I was doing for the Kent State game, and I was just trying to get a sense of the ACC, like who's actually a threat to make the ACC championship game. If Miami doesn't make the ACC championship game this year, Cristobal has to go. The ACC is so bad this year, and Georgia Tech looks solid. Like they might be able to squeak in there. But then after that, like Louisville's just looked okay. Syracuse has just looked okay. Virginia, we're still trying to figure out. Cal has a great quarterback, but he's a true freshman, and the rest of the team doesn't look that great. NC State, we don't really know what they are. Clemson and SMU are talented but underwhelming. There's just not a lot of ACC teams where you go, yeah, they could be there in Charlotte. Miami really doesn't have an excuse this year to not make it.
They've got a not too hard of a schedule, I believe, with how it lines up after the Florida State game. So I could see it. I mean, wouldn't that be something? Miami finally makes it to the AC championship, and then they have to play Florida State.
Oh, if they lose that game, the Trolls would live forever. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, it would be. It definitely would be. This is from Ricky Logan. Are you going to be at the game on Sunday for the Bucks? Would love to meet up. If so, no, won't be at the game. We've got our full staff there and the presser there. I'm waiting a little bit longer for that Eagles matchup, which I'm super excited for. But if I see you there, hit me up on Twitter. We'll definitely meet up before the game as well. There's a great comment on here. Screw national media. Our guy Terrell. Stick to NoleGameday. Tons of content going over there at NoleGameday.com all across the board. And like VZ said, we're kind of starting to gear up a little bit into basketball season as well. Luke Laux absolutely killing it across the board so far. We haven't gotten to some true games yet, an actual game, but so far so good from Luke Laux and that basketball staff. A lot of excitement going into the season, and VZ does an incredible job, the best on the beat at what he does for Florida State coverage on the hard court. And then we will be live. I think I'll be solo dolo, but we'll be live Saturday for the game. Another watch party. Me and VZ had one 2 weeks ago for the East Texas A&M game. Had an incredible time. If you guys watch from home, throw us up on the iPad, on your phone or whatever. Tune in. Also, too, if you just don't want to hear to ACC Network like I do, just tune in. I'll be giving live reactions. Also, too, just throw up some highlights for you guys all across the board. And also to talk some other college football all throughout the afternoon. We'll go live at 3:15, 15 minutes before kickoff. So come hang out, grab a drink, grab some food, and we'll watch some Florida State versus Kent State. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us this evening. If you're still here, smack the like button down below. We appreciate you all watching. If you're new or haven't done it yet, please consider hitting subscribe. We continue to grow at a rapid pace, and our subscriber count, it's deeply appreciated from us as well. And yeah, that will do it for this week's episode of Hear the Spear. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's weekend. Safe travels up to Tallahassee, And we'll see you guys on Saturday afternoon at 3:15.